Oh, just everybody.
Untitled Khen Rinpoche.
Yes. Just good morning and good evening. Like Heart Sutra. Yeah. Okay. Before we start Heart Sutra teaching, let us together do the breathing meditation.
Rinpoche, you must unmute this audio, Rinpoche. Unmute the audio. Yeah, we can hear you. We cannot hear you. Oh,
Can
okay,
you hear me?
Rinpoche. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's start do the breathing meditation. Keep your body and head straight like arrow. Nevertheless, take a deep breath and relax, physically, mentally, emotionally relax, fully relax. And watch every movement of sensation that's running through your both nostrils. Beside watching, you don't need to do anything else. Okay. Yeah. So in the Heart Sutra, teaching us that five aggregate the constituents of the self, I or me. There is a five skandhas or five aggregates. The form, feeling, discrimination, mental information, compositional factor, or the consciousness. These five aggregate the 12 souls, 18 elements. So they all are empty of inherent existence. They all are devoid of any substantial or so when you engage into the meditation on emptiness, or when you enter into the state of emptiness meditation, you don't see these five aggregate 12 souls and 18 elements. And then the Avalokiteshvara further says, like this, there is no suffering, no origin, no cessation, and no path. In the Heart Sutra, further stated. So when you came to contact with such statement, you might be get shocked, huh? How come? There is no for truth. You see? You might be thinking that, oh, Buddha went crazy, huh? Because he says, he talks, he says the four truth. He achieved the enlightenment, become Buddha through the practice of four truth, and he mentioned, he teach us to practice the four truth. But here he says, no four truth. His first teaching, first turning wheel of the Dharma is teaching on Four Noble Truths. And his third turning wheel of the Dharma he teaches the Heart Sutra. So you wonder why Buddha make a contradictory statement. Why Buddha give a conflicting teaching. first teaching, the Four Noble Truths that Buddha went through. Four Noble Truths. Buddha traveled on the Four Noble Truths. Four Noble Truths is the path that Buddha took. That helps him to be fully awakened. Then he, after realized through the traveling on the path of the Four Noble Truths, Buddha achieved the everlasting peace and happiness of nirvana. And then Buddha, from the Bodh Gaya, went to the Varanasi. Buddha teach Four Noble Truths. The suffering, origin of the suffering, the cessation of the suffering, the path to cessation of the suffering. Meaning that Buddha says, in life there's a suffering. That suffering has an origin. And the suffering and the origin can be removed by relying on the path that leads to the cessation. So this Four Noble Truths is the complete path that you can take on the journey from samsara to nirvana, that Buddha took, and he shared this, the path to us. First, I want to explain some brief explanation about the Four Noble Truths. Before I explain what Buddha said in the Heart Sutra, no suffering, no origin, no cessation, no path. Here, when Buddha said suffering, there is a suffering in life. Why Buddha said that? Because Buddha wants us to know the suffering. We don't know. The suffering in life. Buddha will say First, you need to know it. When Buddha said the suffering in life, Buddha wants us to know the suffering. And then Buddha said, origin of suffering. That means Buddha wants us to remove. Second, remove the origin of the suffering. When Buddha says the cessation of the suffering, that Buddha teaching us there's a possibility of removing the suffering and its origin. The possibility. Then when Buddha says the path, Buddha teaching us to train in the path that leads to the cessation of the suffering and its origin. Teaching Four Noble Truths Buddha give to us according to his experience. His teaching saying that basically to know suffering, to remove its origin, the possibility of achieving the cessation of the suffering and its cause, and to train the path to it. Train path to it. First, to know the suffering, to know it. Knowing very important. We don't know the life suffering. If we know that we are in suffering, we will not be here. We will try our best to get out of it, to emerge from it. Without knowing it, without knowing the suffering of the life, there's no way you gain a freedom from it. Just like is the prisoner. Is prisoner see the bar and the walls, are the prison, how can he get freedom out of it? If prisoner don't see he is in prison, if prisoner don't know he is in prison, how he can get the freedom out of it? So Buddha wants, in order to us to get freedom from the suffering, Buddha wants us to know that we are in suffering. To know the suffering, to know the suffering, you need to deeply penetrate into the life. When I say deeply penetrate into the life, you have to go all the way into life. Huh? When I say go all the way into life, don't go half and then come back. Okay, when you go half and come back, you don't know. Huh? Don't return. Huh? Don't return back. You go half and return back and say, I know life. Huh? You understand? You have to go all the way. Don't be naive. Huh? You have to go all the way. You need to hit your head against the wall and head cut into many small pieces. Huh? Then you cry loudly. Huh? Then you come back and see. Then what is the life? Then you know what does Buddha mean to know the suffering. Until then, whatever life we live, we build our life on the ice. Whatever spiritual, the temple we build the spiritual on a ice ground, not stable. Not stable. Dharma practice not stable. Now, at the beginning, when you came to contact and practice the spiritual, people get excited, like a spiritual honeymoon, have lots of excitement, lots of energy, lots of confidence and hopes and enthusiastics. And then after some times, before you get married, you divorce. Then went to another spiritual teacher and another tradition. Again, you go through the same experience. So like this. We call it spiritual shopping mall. Go to the. So in this, there's no the commitment. There's no responsibility. In the West, you call it. You call it. Every option is open. Every option is open. So the first thing, in order to first stone you lay out to build a very strong spiritual temple is to know the life fully. So when to know the life fully, here, what to want to know the suffering. So this, don't misunderstand. When you go into the life deeply, so Buddha says to know the suffering. That doesn't mean that the life is suffering. Okay. You have to be this very careful. People misunderstand it. Throughout the ages until now, people misunderstand. Is it a life is suffering? If life is suffering, then there is no possibility to achieve freedom in life. Because there is no possibility you separate your life from suffering. There's no possibility, no hope, no option at all, because life itself is suffering. If life itself is suffering, how can you separate suffering from life? Because the life itself is suffering. Just like, the coal. The coal is black, right? Coal nature is black. So can you separate the black from the coal? No. No matter how hard you remove the black from the coal, by the time you remove the black from the coal, coal is no longer exist. Can you remove the darkness from night? No way. You see, when you remove the darkness from the night, there's no more night at all. You see. So the life, very nature of the life is suffering. If it is, then there is no possibility. Separation, yourself separation from suffering. Then don't practice meditation, okay? There's no possibility. Don't pray to Buddha, there's no possibility. As long as you have a life, you have suffering. No matter how hard you study, reflect, and meditate, you can't separate suffering from life. Okay. Unless you put the end to the life. So you see, very nature of the life is not suffering. Very nature of the life is a joy. Life is not a sickness, huh? Okay? Very nature of the life is not a sickness that needs to be taking the medication. No. Very nature of the life is joy that needs to be celebrated instead. Huh? Very nature of the life is not ugly. It's very beautiful. Life is. Very nature of the life is not something to be removed. Instead, something needs to be cherished. That's why Buddha said, precious human life. The most precious thing in the existence in the world is the life. Is there more precious than life? No. Without the life, whole existence has no meaning. Whole existence has no fragrance, no flower, no song, no color, no rainbow at all. So what makes every existence is beautiful is because of the life. Okay. So this is very clear. You have to be very clear. There are many wrong information about life. Huh? That's why no wonder many people, instead of cherishing the life, they hate life. That's why they feel like, I don't belong here. I don't belong here. You feel like you belong to some kind of another world, huh? Another world called Pure Land, huh? When you go there again, you have a life, you feel another same thing. I don't belong here because I have a life. I really hate life, huh? How can I have a life here? Here. So this many people in life, why they feel guilty? Because they made some mistake in their life. They can't let go of that guilty. Why? Because they feel this life is a negative, life is a sin. You see. So I'm inherited bad. You can't let go because you are born as a negative, very pessimistic, very pessimistic. If life, nature is suffering, then all the doors shut down. Not all the doors shut down. There's no door at all. First of all, don't talk about shut down. There's no door, all our wall, no door at all. You see. So this, don't misunderstand now. So why Buddha say suffering, to know suffering? What's the meaning of the Buddha's words? The first truth. That Buddha, what does mean? But that the very nature of the life is pure joy. But there is a suffering in life. There is a suffering in life. Which suffering? Suffering that we know this is not real suffering. That Buddha wants us to know the suffering. That's not the suffering. Such as sickness, aging, death. Not getting what we want. We're getting what we do not want. Huh? Not fulfilling our wishes. All these are not the suffering Buddha wants us to know the suffering. These are just a symptom. Symptom. Symptom, huh? If these are the suffering that Buddha wants us to know, Buddha no need to teach us. We have to know the suffering. We already know. So, which suffering Buddha wants us to know in order to get freedom out of it? Is to know that as this your impure body and impure mind that is completely controlled by karma and delusion. So that is the suffering that we need to know. If I put in a very simple the statement is, as long as your mind is under the influence or the control by this afflictive emotion or the ignorant, no matter what kind of life you lead, you always have this is the suffering. If you experience the if once you are under the control or the influence by the ignorant, even you experience a pleasurable experience, that is the suffering. For example, the beings in the God realm, they experience pleasure. You know the God realm, the sixth realm in samsara, the God realm, they only experience the pleasure. But that pleasure is the suffering, you see. Why? Because this pleasure is the result of the uncontaminated, virtues contaminated karma that created by the delusion. Even though they, for the time being, they experience only the pleasure, but when they exhaust their karma, enjoyed everything, when karma get exhausted, then when they die, they fall again to the lower realm. So this kind of the suffering, very, very difficult to understand. Very, very difficult to understand this. You have to, as I said before, you have to jump into the water, ocean of life. You have to jump deep into it. To penetrate into the life. You live your life fully. Make sure leave no stone unturned. You turn every stone of life. Okay, then you will understand from your own experience what does Buddha mean to know the suffering. Before that, don't say I know the suffering in samsara. Don't say okay. Don't say. Whatever you say is you are saying from the scripture. You're saying it from the book. It's kind of copy and paste. You copy. It's not your own experience. It's not your. That's why one of the reasons why we don't know the suffering is because before we know it, we copy it from other people. You see. We get the ready-made the question and answer. Rather, we get the ready-made question and also the answer. So here, you have to look in, go within yourself. Go deep. deep to the point that you let your life upside down. Then you know when you go very deep, you know the very nature of the life is goodness, fundamentally goodness. But the center is goodness, but it's surrounded by all the obscurations, all the sickness. So once you know that, then you gain the renunciation, mind of renunciation, Nijung, definitive emergence. As I said before, when you know this life fully, you gain the renunciation. In the renunciation, you have two feelings, as I explained before: feeling of joy and a feeling of sadness. Feeling of joy because you realize the very true nature of the life is goodness. You feel great sadness, but the treasure, this diamond, is surrounded by all the great danger. Surrounded by all the delusion. So you want to remove all these obscurations. So then, remove all this obscuration. All the obscuration is the cause of the suffering. Then you're coming into the second truth, origin. Origin needs to be removed. Origin of the suffering needs to be removed. Then you also not only being able to wants to remove the origin of the suffering. You know the origin of the suffering can be removed. There's a possibility. Because this darkness, no matter how powerful it looks like, but they have no ground. It has no root. It's just a temporary. It is a removable. It is a curable. Can be removed. When you see this, it can be removed. Then you see the third truth, the cessation. It can be ceased. There's a possibility to put end to it. Then you know the third truth, the cessation. Then you also know that, how can I seize it? The cessation means freedom. The cessation means nirvana. Nirvana is nothing other than cessation of the suffering and the cause of the suffering. That's the nirvana.
Cái niết bàn nó là gì? Có nghĩa là khi mà mình giải thoát khỏi những cái sự khổ, không còn khổ nữa, tận diệt được khổ thì là giải thoát chính là niết bàn.
Your mind is pure like a sun.
Như thế này, tâm của chúng ta thật sự
All this obscuration is like a cloud
ánh mặt, như là cái mặt trời vậy đó. Rồi những
that comes and goes and comes and goes.
giống như những đám mây đến rồi đi, đến rồi đi, đến rồi đi.
That all this can be removed.
Và những cái đám mây này có thể loại trừ được, có thể lấy đi được, có thể tiêu diệt.
After that, how the way in which to remove this?
Rồi tới
What is the cure?
cái
What is the method?
những cái phương pháp gì,
What is the means to put end to it?
làm sao
The
để
path.
mà chúng ta
The path.
diệt được.
Then you come to the fourth truth, the path.
Lúc này là chúng ta
What is the path?
lên cái con đường diệt khổ.
Which one is the cure? That is the wisdom,
Chính là những cái trí tuệ,
understanding no self,
sự hiểu về
no self.
vô ngã, có nghĩa là không có cái bản ngã, không có cái tôi, không có cái chính mình.
Wisdom, understanding no self. That is the path.
Đó là cái trí
That's the cure.
tuệ hiểu
That's the method
cái vô ngã, có nghĩa là không có cái tôi, không có chính mình.
to put an end to the suffering and the origin of suffering.
Khi mình hiểu rõ được là không có cái tôi, vô ngã thì là kết thúc, gọi là tận diệt được khổ, tận diệt
You
được
understand?
nguyên nhân của khổ.
So that path,
Đây là cái đạo đế, là con đường diệt khổ.
we have to develop, we have to train ourselves
Chúng ta phải
into that path.
chúng ta phải huấn luyện bản thân mình đi trên cái con đường.
Meaning that we have to
Có nghĩa là
generate the wisdom realizing no self.
mình phải chuyển hóa những cái trí tuệ của mình.
So wisdom realizing no self.
Cái trí tuệ để nhận biết ra.
So this we explained in the Heart Sutra before many times. Oh.
Lặp lại rất là nhiều lần.
So when you train it, how to train?
Chúng ta phải huấn luyện, phải tu tập. Thì huấn luyện làm sao, tu tập làm sao, và tu tập như thế nào?
Through listening or the learning
Thông qua cái việc lắng nghe pháp,
and
lắng nghe những lời dạy pháp, những lời huấn luyện.
reflection or the contemplation.
Cái bước thứ hai,
After that,
chúng ta
then
suy ngẫm,
meditation.
suy nghĩ. Rồi thì cái bước đến bước thứ ba là bắt đầu mình phân tích,
Through listening,
thiền định.
reflection, and meditation,
Lặp lại ha.
you will be able to
Nghe những lời
gain the
pháp, rồi thì nghiền ngẫm
insight into the no self.
thiền định, đi
Wisdom realizing no self.
cái trí tuệ hiểu về vô ngã, từ
To listen.
đến cái vô ngã.
Listen what? Listen teaching on no self, such as Heart Sutra.
Những cái giáo pháp
Comment Heart Sutra. If you cannot understand, now we have the commentary. I explained.
trong bát nhã
So
tâm
you
kinh, ngoài bát nhã tâm
listen to it again and again.
về bát nhã tâm kinh,
Again, listen, then you have to reflect on it,
tu học mình
contemplate on it,
nghe những cái giáo pháp đó, rồi mình nghiền ngẫm,
then
suy nghĩ,
meditate
suy
on
tư,
it.
mình tư duy về những cái điều mà mình đã được nghe, được giảng, rồi thì soi rọi lại.
So this is the practice of Four Noble Truths.
Đây chính là cái pháp môn tu học về tứ diệu đế.
Now, this is the Four Noble Truths the Buddha teach. But here in the Heart Sutra says, no suffering, no origin, no cessation, no path. Then how do I practice? If there is no Four Noble Truths, how can I practice Four Noble Truths? So this practice is to the Bodhisattva. So when you see the suffering, that Buddha says, no suffering. No suffering means that once you understand there's a suffering, but you see that this suffering is not inherent existence. There's no substantial, real suffering. It's just merely imputed by our mind, not real. That means that when you meditate on suffering, don't stuck with the suffering, okay? Don't entangle yourself in suffering. Don't fix on suffering, huh? Don't hold on to the suffering. If you hold on to the suffering, you attach to the suffering, huh? And you struggle, you're stuck with suffering. That's why people say, suffering, I have problem. Then you a whole time you talk about problem. Whole time you think about problem. Whole time you meditate very well about your problem, huh? Everything inside, outside, around you, all problem. You see, huh? Then because of that, you look around. All you see is a problem, huh? You see. So Buddha said in the Heart Sutra, practitioner of Bodhisattva, when suffering comes, Buddha knows suffering, but don't. This is not substantial. Lack of substantial, real suffering. It's just a temporary. You won't the fixed on it. You won't hold on to it. Then also, that's the meaning of no suffering. In the house. Then no origin. Origin of the suffering is what? Delusion. All this frustration, anger, hatred, jealousy, arrogant, attachment, all this is origin. But they are not empty of origin by nature, devoid of substantial, real origin. You look. They are just a display. It's just an illusion, huh? When you know this, you also will not be able to entangle yourself with this negative emotion and negative thoughts. You will not be stuck. You won't be bound by it. Because you know there's no substantial in it. It's not real. It's empty of inherent existence. That is the meaning of no origin. And Buddha said no cessation in the Heart Sutra. No cessation. That means no nirvana. No nirvana means there's no real nirvana. No substantial nirvana. So, you don't have desire to nirvana, okay? No. Not only so here, not only no desire to suffering, but no desire to happiness. Not only no desire to the samsara, also no desire to nirvana. Even though the object of desire is beautiful, nirvana, but it is still the desire, so it's bound. Buddha knows very well. So this is Buddha giving advice to the Bodhisattva. Bodhisattva, they also have the danger falling into the trap of nirvana. If not mindful, one said nirvana, Bodhisattva feels like, I'm into it. There's a tendency to have some kind of arrogance. I achieved it. Nobody else. That kind of. You see. This is a golden string. Looks very beautiful. At desire to nirvana, but its string still is bind. So that's what I mean. Why? You see, nirvana is just merely labeled by the mind. There's no real, substantial, inherent existence. If you know this, then what will happen? You don't solidifying the nirvana. Solidifying, nirvana. Is solidifying it, objectifying it. This is very good, So when you do, so that's why you see, Buddha try everything. Buddha touched everything to make sure. Buddha says there's nothing to fix on, hold on to.
thử nghiệm giống như là thử mọi cái góc độ, mọi cái khía cạnh để tìm ra cái câu trả lời thực sự.
That's the meaning of the no cessation. Then no path.
Cuối cùng thì Ngài mới kết luận rằng là
Although the path you take, no path means you move on the path, but no inherent existence of path. So when you practice it, the path, Buddha Dharma, don't practice very seriously. Hold on to it and like this, meditate. I'm going to meditate, get into nirvana. I'm engaging in a very serious business. Tight everything. No. You have to. That's why Buddha say, no path. Okay, relax. Don't over-exaggerate it. Don't hold on. So, because there's no real path. So this is the meaning of the Heart Sutra. The overall, what Heart Sutra here saying is, there is no the whole trip. There's no whole trip. The whole trip is not a trip. No path, no destination, no traveler. There's no beginning, there's no ending. So, but saying that's why when Bodhisattva enter into the meditation on emptiness, in emptiness, as Bodhisattva don't see the suffering. That's why no suffering. Don't see the origin. That's why I say no origin. In emptiness, don't see the cessation. That's why I say no cessation. Don't see the path, so there's no path. Okay. And today we stop here. I hope you don't get confused, Yeah, we'll, don't think that Buddha, instead of solving your confusion, add more confusion. In the first teaching, Buddha says, Four Noble Truth. In the third teaching, Buddha says, no Four Noble Truth. What is the Buddha talking about? Whether he is in or out, I don't know. That is, oh. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, this Four Noble Truth is a very structure of the whole Buddhist teaching. Very structure. At the beginning, you practice Buddhism with the Four Noble Truth. In the middle, you also, on the journey, you have to practice Four Noble Truth. At the end, you have to conclude with your journey with the Four Noble Truth. All the Buddhist teaching. is in the built on the framework of One Noble Truth. If you understand, first two truth, suffering and origin, is the cause and result circling in samsara. Second true truth, the cessation and the path, is cause and result of nirvana. So there are two cause and result. First two cause and result is cause of samsara and result experiencing in samsara. Second truth, origin, cessation and the path is the cause to and result in nirvana. Cause of the nirvana and experience the result in nirvana. Okay. I have to stop here. Okay. You can ask one or two questions.
Jenny?
Yes. Priscilla, how are you? I want to ask, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes.
Can you talk from the video, Jenny? No.
Yes, yes. I want to ask the question is that, as you say, there's no the actual Pure Land. Pure Land is not a country where we can migrate, right?
Yes, yes.
And then there's no natural reality in the Nirvana. And then if like that, after we practice Dharma right now in this life, for example, if we are good, is it the best we will come back to this life, to this earth again, next life, learn Dharma. And then this circle will be on and on until we become bodhisattva or until we become fully awakened one day. Is this is the best arrangement for our life? If we now learn Dharma now. Thank you very much, Geshe.
Okay. You understand, huh? Yes. I would say yes and no. Yes, there is no separate entity or separate world called Pure Land outside of your mind. That's what I mean. Is there a Pure Land that is outside of your mind? Another country, like a Western Sukhavati? Is this a separate? No, absolutely not. That's what Buddha say. When Buddha say no nirvana, it's exactly saying that. But also in the many sutras says no Pure Land. Here, no Pure Land means no substantial, real Pure Land. Our idea of Pure Land does not exist. Put into a nutshell, our idea of Pure Land, that idea of Pure Land does not exist. What is our idea of Pure Land? Our idea of Pure Land is that, there's a separate world called Pure Land. I'm here. That Pure Land is waiting for me. Huh? That kind of Pure Land never exists. So that's why I say yes, such separate world called Pure Land doesn't exist. But I also say no. Why? There is a Pure Land. Yeah. There is a Pure Land, Amitabha's Pure Land. That Amitabha Pure Land is not the Pure Land that exists from its own side as a separate entity from your mind. But when you go there, this is the manifestation of your pure mind. That's why I say there's no objectifying Pure Land. Very objectivity Pure Land, is to do with the subjective mind. It's when your mind is pure. When you through a practice of Amitabha, when you create Amitabha practice included into 4 courses. When you create these 4 courses, then you will reach to the Amitabha Pure Land, no doubt at all. No doubt at all. When you go there, that Pure Land, Amitabha Pure Land, is the manifestation of your pure consciousness. It's not separate from you. Actually, it is part of you. It's the mere display of your pure consciousness, mere appearance of your pure consciousness. Of course, it's the Amitabha creation of Amitabha's pure mind, but you also involved in it. When you go there, Amitabha's Pure Land, that Pure Land you live, see, hear, feel, touch, that Pure Land is not a Pure Land that they're waiting for you and you come later. No, this exists together with you. When you go there, this comes with you together. That's why I'm saying there's no such Pure Land that waiting for you to come there. No. That's the meaning. So your question is it better to come back here or go to the... so in that case, you can generalize. It's up to individual. Because each individual is different. People's interest is different. And people's capability is different. What people want is different. So those who wants to go to the Amitabha Pure Land, no matter how long it takes to become a Buddha. I just don't want suffering here. For myself, I want free from the suffering. I don't want to come back here. I don't feel I belong to here. I want to go to Amitabha Pure Land. Over there it says it takes the eons to become a Buddha. I don't mind. Then, okay. You have a choice. You create the 4 course to go to the Amitabha Pure Land. You will get the next life. That's for sure. In addition to it, then you can practice a power. Even you don't want to go, if you want to get the earlier and get the full stamp, verification, then practice power. But some people, especially Mahayana Buddhist, follower of the Bodhisattva practitioner, I want to come back. I don't want to go to Pure Land. I want to come back here. I want to come back here and help as much as I can until I become a Buddha. I work together with the sentient being. Of course, I fall down. When I come back, I definitely fall down, but I rise. I fall down, I rise, together with the other sentient being. I stumble, lots of bumpy on the way here. Lots of bumpy, lots stumble, but I come back here. I enjoy coming back to here to work with the sentient being. I see all this suffering are not real. But other sentient beings, they think it's real. That's why they suffer. I come back to here and open their eyes. Not come back here, come back again and again. Some people feel that I want to become a Buddha first. I come back to here and become a Buddha first, so I can bring all of them to state of Buddha. And some people with the stronger Buddhist motivation, love and compassion very strong. I and sentient being become Buddha together. Not I become Buddha first and bring the sentient being together. Like a captain in the boat. Me and the sentient being together we cross the ocean of samsara. Together. Not I first, together I want. And some Bodhisattva, the more courageous, strong resolution. What? They think that, no, it's not I want to become Buddha first and then bring the all the sentient beings state of Buddha. No, I and sentient being travel together, cross the ocean. I stay here, samsara. First, I let all the sentient beings to cross the ocean. Let them to go into the boat, cross the ocean, reach to the other side of the ocean. After they arrived, even I make sure in samsara no one left behind. When no one left behind, then last person to leave samsara is going to be me. it's called sheep herd, like Buddhista, sheep herd. Shepherd, huh? The person who look after the sheep, huh? You know, he let the sheep go first, and then he go after the sheep, right? Like this, huh? So it's on. It depends on the individual's mental inclination, mental capability. What do you want to? But you have all the option on the table, huh? Buddha is very skillful, huh? He did not give only one option. He gave 84,000 heaps of options. Okay. Today here, huh? Now we'll stop here. We do the dedication. Lama Sanje Jone Drowa Jejan Maleva Deye Sala Gobaja Chanjo Sanjo Rinpoche Mage Bana Ge Gyoje Gewa Nyamba Mebaya Gone Kondo Bevaja Sha